Bradley Broder is the graduate speaker. The Provost Selection Committee chose Bradley for this honor from a group of outstanding candidates nominated by our graduate school. Mr. Broder receives his Master of Arts degree in Political Science today. He is a president and founder of the Kenya Education Fund, a veteran of the Peace Corps in Kenya. Mr. Broder started the Kenya Education Fund as a way to help Kenyan children afford a high school education. The fund sends more than 250 students to high school throughout Kenya and hopes to support 600 students by next year. Please welcome your graduate speaker, Dr. Bradley Broder.
Thank you. Good morning. Congratulations to my fellow graduates and their families and friends. It's very nice of you to come, everybody. I also want to thank the Board of Trustees, President Shepard, administrative officers, and deans, and a special thanks to Dr. Vernon Johnson and Dr. Sarah Ware of the Political Science Department. In 2003, the summer before I started graduate school, I headed down to Costa Rica with nothing but a backpack and a few weeks to kill. My first stop was a small surfing village on the Pacific coast called Dominical. Now, I don't surf, but I do enjoy spending a few days on the sand watching the surfers do their thing. Now, this particular year, the riptide was especially powerful off Dominical. In the days before I got there, the current had drowned 2 swimmers, and the phenomenon then claimed another 2 lives while I was there. The word around Dominical was that these swimmers had all died in the same way, from exhaustion. As the riptide ripped them out to sea, they panicked, and they tried to swim against the current back to shore. But any lifeguard will tell you when you're caught in a riptide, the best thing to do is to let it carry you. Eventually the tide will ease, and that will be your window of opportunity to swim back to shore with plenty of energy. It may be 4 miles away from where you first put in, but you're certain to emerge with your life. Now, those who choose to fight the tide, they end up like the 4 swimmers who perished that summer. This is not a story about death. This is actually a story about opportunity. And more, it's about opportunities presented to us in the most challenging of times. As you all realize, the world you're about to enter today as graduates is different. It's a different place than when you entered school 4 years ago, or 2 years ago, or for me, 6 years ago. Jobs today are scarce, and the path to your career goals may seem like you're swimming against the tide, but sometimes wonderful opportunities arise when we are most challenged. We have to be able to recognize those opportunities when they present themselves. In May 2005, I was wrapping up my second year as a graduate student of political science here at Western, and I had worked my tail off for the better part of a year researching my master's thesis about corruption and its effects on development organizations in Africa. I was young and idealistic. I was full of piss and vinegar. I handed in my paper thinking it was going to blow my professor's mind and I'd get published in a prestigious political science journal, and then I'd change the way people give to charity. But then I got hit by that darn tide. My paper was complete and utter rubbish, and my advisors informed me that I wouldn't be graduating that year with the rest of my class. Well, this was unacceptable. It was unbelievable. It was unjust. I fought the decision. I fought it by getting 100 second opinions on my paper and raising objections with just about everybody in the department. But I quickly realized that the harder I fought, the more allies I was losing in the department. And so I packed my things, I moved back to New York with 2 years of grad school and no degree. Now, my dream was always to work with a charity involved with African development solutions. Prior to graduate school, I did the Peace Corps in Kenya for 2 years, so I had some practical experience. But still, no organization would hire me for the job I wanted without a master's degree. And funny enough, I found myself applying for the very charities that I wrote about in my thesis as being corrupt and ineffective. It kind of made me feel cheap. But I had always been told that it is easier to affect change from within, so that's what I was trying to do. But I just couldn't get in. It was a dark time for me. I had no job, no degree, and no confidence to fight this tide pulling me away from what I wanted to do in life. But then the most remarkable and natural thing happened to me while adrift out there in a sea of unemployment and misery. Looking back at the shore of my dreams, the riptide eventually eased up, and an opportunity to do just what I always wanted presented itself, as though the Red Sea were parting and I could just walk to land and grab it. That opportunity was to start my own charity. And in 2006, a full year after not graduating from Western, I founded the Kenya Education Fund. That opportunity was the best of my life. And the idea was simple. Invest in people, not projects. Through education, we can improve human capacity in Kenya to the point where they no longer depend on others to solve their problems. I'll give you an example. HIV/AIDS. HIV/AIDS is a huge problem all over Africa. 72% of all HIV/AIDS cases in the world are in sub-Saharan Africa. And there is no cure for HIV. But there's one amazing fact about this virus. It's 100% preventable. So why then are nearly 10% of Kenyans infected with a virus that is so easily preventable? It's because they lack education. One cannot be expected to prevent getting or spreading a deadly virus if they haven't been taught how. Just as the swimmer caught in a riptide would never survive unless they were taught to go with the current and wait for it to ease up. We here today are the lucky and the privileged. We have been taught and lectured and tested until our heads nearly exploded with the educations we've consumed. But even more important than what we have learned is that we have learned how to learn. We have learned to be critical, analytical, and to assess what is right and what is wrong. We've learned that in an era where the answers to many of our questions are just a mouse click away, the substance and truth still require that we be skeptical and diligent in our search for them. Our education does not end today when we throw off our hats and step off campus as alumni. No, sir. For us, every day is a school day. The education we take with us at the end of this ceremony will create opportunities that we must be keen to recognize when they are revealed. And not just opportunities to avoid death from drowning and getting HIV, but opportunities to achieve our loftiest goals, to enrich our lives, and perhaps equally as important, to better the lives of our fellow brothers and sisters, because we have decided that it is the right thing to do. While I may have left Western in 2005 without my degree, I still took with me the knowledge of a full 2 years of classes and research. I used that education to create from nothing an organization that today ensures that 300 kids will live their dream of completing school. Next year, we estimate the KEF will be supporting 600 kids in over 200 schools across Kenya. And in a society where roughly 60% of the population never goes to school because of poverty, every educated child represents an opportunity for a family, a community, and a country to improve itself and live the kind of life that we all want for ourselves. It is my hope that one day every Kenyan will have the basic opportunity to attend school. And with the Kenya Education Fund, I'm shifting the paradigm. I'm not trying to affect change from within like everybody told me was the way things are done. I have seen what other organizations have done and where they've failed to serve the people that they are meant to serve. And the KEF is my opportunity to fix that. and to do that from the outside. But the important lesson here is that this is an opportunity that came to me in the hardest of times, in the nadir of my life. And it is one that I was able to recognize thanks only to my education. And not coincidentally, my work is to facilitate the kind of education that creates similar opportunities for others. So I'm so grateful for the education I've received, and for the most part have taken for granted my entire life. And though I no longer take education for granted because of all the kids who never get to go to school, I hope to see the day when Kenyans do take it for granted, when they no longer have to worry about being chased away from school because they lack fees, when every Kenyan is granted fundamental basics of high school education and can access loans and grants to continue on to university. Indeed, my dream is to see the day when the Kenya Education Fund is no longer necessary. You might think I'm crazy to want to work myself out of a job, but to me, this is my happiness, and it's my purpose. I think it was Stephen Biko who said, "It is better to die for an idea that will live than live for an idea that will die." And I would happily sacrifice my professional life for education for all Kenyans. Parents, guardians, friends, and professors, your graduates will still need your support and encouragement to help them identify the opportunities that are out there that will fill their lives with purpose, with satisfaction, and with happiness. I stand here today, finally, as a graduate, because the most important people in my life never gave up on me when I had almost given up on myself. You play an important role simply by believing in your graduate when times are tough. We sometimes need someone to remind us that this riptide won't last forever. We need you to remind us how special we are. And I want to thank my mom and my dad and my sister for always being that reminder for me. My fellow graduates, outside the walls of this school, each of you will face your own riptide at some point, and it's going to take guts and patience to recognize the opportunities that you have to swim to shore and do something magnificent for yourself and for others. If you can't find a job, use that opportunity to volunteer. And when you get a great job, use that opportunity to lift others who are down and do pro bono work. Each of you, through your individual experiences, circumstances, and unique skill sets, are able to contribute in a special way to improve the human experience. Nothing will enrich your life more than realizing what you can do for others and actually doing it. There will always be a riptide pulling you away from your true happiness and your great ideas. There will always be expectations from your friends, family, bosses, and spouses that don't jive with the direction your inner compass is directing you. And there will always be someone telling you you can't. Well, as I stand here today giving a speech at my own graduation that I'd never thought I'd see, believe me when I tell you that you are smarter than the tide holding you back, that you can outwit and defeat anyone and anything in life that pulls you under. Every no thrown at you is just an opportunity to say yes. When someone tells you you can't, that is your opportunity to say, "Oh yeah? Watch this." When someone says that you are wrong and you can't succeed, like I was when they rejected my thesis the first time, see that as an opportunity, not a closed door, to demonstrate the validity of your ideas, your worth, and your success. With this education, you are enlightened. I encourage you to go out there and to be illuminating. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bradley.